Justin Hawkins rides again. Good day to you, it is I, Justin Hawkins. Today is one of those days where I talk about an artist that means a hell of a lot to me. But I'm going to do it slightly differently because as opposed to sort of pulling bits out of a catalogue that I think are great song-wise, I'm going to talk about a whole album. An album which I firmly believe is top to bottom bangers, and that album is Street Songs by Rick James. Rick James, of course, born and raised in Buffalo, New York. He mentions that in some of his songs. I think he might even use that expression, born and raised in Buffalo, New York. He was in various bands before entering the US Navy Reserve to avoid being drafted into the Army. Pacifist. Then he went to Canada to avoid service. And then Rick James fell in with musician Neil Young in Toronto. They formed a folk blues band, the Minor Birds. Bear in mind, Rick James is a rude bass player. Absolutely. I think Pat asked me in the broadcast we did on Sunday, he said, "Who's your favourite bass player?" I said, Rick James. I stand by that. He's a great singer as well. It's one of my favourite singers and my favourite bass player. Anyway, the Minor Birds that he formed with Neil Young were good enough to land a recording contract with Motown Records, good little label. Some solid hits on there, quickly nullified though because it emerged that Rick James was indeed a fugitive. Ironically, because he teamed up with some other very famous fugitives in 1985 when he was on the A-Team. Presumably, maybe he was like an extra member of the... I didn't see that episode, actually. I didn't even know that. I just saw it on this list of facts.
Record on this little tape recorder we gave him, man. You should hear this stuff, man. I mean, you should just listen to it. I've been knowing him a long time. He's my main man, and I need y'all help. That's the bottom line. I need your help.
MC Hammer sampled Super Freak, which is a song from Street Songs. I'll talk about that in a little bit. For You Can't Touch This, which won the Best R&B Song at the Grammys in 91. This is my favourite fact about Rick James. Before Michael Jackson, Rick James was Prince's biggest rival in the early 80s. Prince opened a series of concerts for James in 1980. James caught some of Prince's act, then claimed the Purple One was stealing ideas from him. The accusation ignited a bitter rivalry between the two performers. That is my favourite of the bitter rivalries. The other good ones are, Stones, Beatles. I think Wet, 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 Bros takes a little bit of beating. Blur and Oasis in the 90s. I suppose it doesn't really happen anymore, does it? People are too afraid to openly and authentically diss or accuse other artists. But anyway, let's get on to Street Songs. This is such an awesome record. The first song on it is Give It To Me Baby. Starts off with like an ostinato bass line going do 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 dim 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 dim. It's a floor filler. Just sounds amazing. It's a little bit like Thriller, isn't it? When the Thriller was the close to midnight. How's it go? I don't know. Thriller's got one of those anyway. Thriller's got an ostinato bass line. It's slightly different to the Give It To Me Baby one. Anyway, the great thing about Give It To Me Baby is the miming opportunity when you're on the dance floor and somebody's spun this tune, or even if you're DJing it yourself, you can do this dance. You need the chorus, and you've got to remember that there's a second drum set, probably just for the toms, loads and loads of reverb. There's a huge fill, and then a brass stab, and then the fill again. That's how you dance to that one. And I think it's the most important thing is the one after it. Is Give It To Me Baby. So you've got to get that at the end. A lot of people forget the buduh, but it's probably the most important part of it. Great song, obviously worthy of the title banger. Next one is Ghetto Life, and he moves away from talking about, giving it to me, baby, and a sensual encounter where he's more or less laying out the terms of engagement. And then Ghetto Life is talking about his formative years in the ghetto. There's a great line in it. Listen to the riff. It's awesome. The drum sound actually is reminiscent of the sort of snare and tambourine sound from Billie Jean. I don't know. It's just a great sounding record. Ghetto Life has a line in it which says, when I was a young boy, tenement slums and corner bums. And the young people, I'm talking about people who are younger than 10 years old even, in the UK their ears prick up and they go, bums? What? Because, bums are posteriors. Glutamus maximus, the back door, the bottom, the derriere, the butt, the arse, as it were. So, but I know it means something else in America. It shows you that he's prepared to do social commentary, talk about his formative experiences, and also make children in the UK laugh. It's brilliant. Make Love to Me. Oh my God. The first line of this, there's saxophones all over it. There's so many hooks. You could hang so many hooks. Well, how do I do that? More hooks than how can I do this? Oh yeah, more hooks than a strip of Velcro. The rough side. Nearly? No, okay, I'll put it back in the oven. Anyway, Make Love to Me. I love the first line. His first lines are great. The first line of Give It To Me Baby, for example, when I came home last night, you wouldn't make love to me. You were fast asleep. You wouldn't even talk to me. It's brilliant. Tastes so good. To the very last drop. You on the bottom and me on top. Old school. It's brilliant. And then Mr. Policeman. Bear in mind, this is what, 40 years? It is 40 years ago. It's 1981. Mr. Policeman is a song with a chorus that goes, it's a shame, it's a disgrace, but every time you show your face, somebody dies. 1981. Super Freak, we all know Super Freak. That's the one that MC Hammer sampled. The original, I think it bears no comparisons. She's a super freak, super freak. Super Freak, like the way it's mixed and mastered, it's so pure and it really bounces. It's an amazing production. You can hear all this different stuff happening. It's so detailed. You lose all that with MC Hammer's one. I think the additional mastering and all the stuff they've put on it to make it work as a rap backing track has killed anything that resembled nuance in the sound of it. And Super Freak, the original, will never be surpassed. It's a golden moment in funk and roll, wherever it is, it's the best song there is. Fire and Desire. I always listen to this when I'm jogging because it's got a doom, 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 and there's something about the cadence of it that's just right for forest running. And then you're running in the forest, listening to this romantic introduction. He has a monologue. He starts talking about how he's got a new lady now. Things are a little different, and then. And he talks, and he's addressing like an old flame that he hasn't seen for a long time. And he says, and I'll never forget how you changed me with your love and sensitivity. And then he goes, I'm not going to do it because I won't do it justice, but he sings love, love, and he holds it for ages. But as he holds it, he puts this really operatic vibrato on it, and he tightens the note up so that the tonality completely changes, and what you experience in that one note is a rainbow of tone, and that's before the song's really started. After like a chorus or so, he does another dramatic monologue, and this time Tina Maria comes in with something even more impressive with her vocal. It's just like, check this out. And literally when I'm running through the forest, that stops me in my tracks every single time. You have to stand and listen to it and applaud it alone in a forest. It's incredible. Then Call Me Up. I got a feeling this is going to be about a sensual liaison. I think there's a phone call at the beginning between Rick and one of his female acquaintances, and by the end of it he's talking about flesh burning and them touching each other and all this stuff. Brilliant. And then below the funk, past the J in brackets, is the last song on the record. And it sounds like it's a party. Somebody's handed Rick James one of these, what are they called again? Cylindrical laughing cigarettes with Mary Jane's tobacco inside it. And then he proceeds to simulate the inhibition withdrawing effects of Mary Jane's laughing tobacco, and talks about his upbringing and his experiences on farms, and how people used to have a mistaken presumption about his sexuality based on the clothes that he wore and his hair and everything, and how him and several of his female acquaintances would laugh at that. But overall, it's a great record to listen to. Every single song is amazing. It's got bits of social commentary. It's got bits of his own kind of cathartic unloading. It has a lot of sexy time stuff, and it's just really well played, really well produced. You know, the thing that I talked about with Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, the Silk Sonic thing. I mean, I think it's great, obviously, but Rick James is a performer who will never be surpassed. The character in his voice, and I just love him so much. I mean, some of the things that he talks about and like his attitude towards women might be a little bit dated, but some of his social commentary, you can transplant it into today and it still works. Definitely a genius, sadly missed, and I hope you enjoy that record if you weren't already familiar with it. And don't forget to do the dance, okay? Justin Hawkins writes again. Like, subscribe, sign up for the alerts, and watch one of these 2 videos. Cheers. See you on the ice. And then cut.